All right, Mob, welcome back to the Cream of the Crop 4th and 31 podcast, your one-stop shop for all things SEC and college football. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a minute. And go ahead, and it's the off season. You got much to do. Go ahead over to YouTube, hit a subscribe so we can get to that live show so you can tell us in real time what you really think of us. I'm your host, part of the Killer Bees broadcasting team, the Chad Bullock. And tonight we go one-on-one with the game, the producer. Brant and Bo had some Mardi Gras stuff to do. Kind of lame, if you ask me. They're grown men trying to catch moon pies and cups and coins. Bunch of losers. Anyway, we've got a great show. I hope they don't see this. We got a great show tonight, guys. We're going to go kind of off the cuff just a little bit. We've got 3 topics we're going to kind of discuss. We got our top 5 non-Bama plays or moments. We're also going to do our top 5 best Bama players to kind of transition to the NFL. And then we've also got maybe top 5 players that we've met. And Scott, the producer, has got some dandy stories for us. We're going to save that for last because that's going to be a part of the show that you're not going to. I've heard some of these stories and they are gold, and I can't wait to get to them. Some of them are really good. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and start with our top 5 non-Bama plays or moments. Scott, what's your number 5?
Number 5 moments, right? I'm gonna focus on moments here, just so everybody's aware. Number 5 with me was Reggie Bush giving back his Heisman Trophy. You guys remember that? He having to give the Heisman Trophy back, completely earth-shattering for USC fans, especially. Never before had a player lost their grasp on a top award in college football after being awarded to the right with their name mentioned, with the all-time greats. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, that was incredible. But I guess there's a first time for everything, right? I don't think it's been done since, and it's crazy now because when you look at it, he wasn't doing anything they're not doing today, right? So
True.
I understand it was against the rules back then, and it is what it is. But I thought that was definitely that was something memorable, right?
Sorry.
I'll go with my next one. We've got greatest football team ever assembled. Chad, you got any ideas on who that could be?
Well, if I'm thinking one of the greatest all-time college football teams ever, I go back to 2001 Miami.
Ding! That's what we've got. The Hurricanes completed their undefeated season, and it was technically 2002 when it was over. They beat Nebraska 37-14 in that Rose Bowl. With the 23-point victory, Miami actually dropped its average margin of victory that year to 32.9 per game. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to repeat it. Go back and rewatch what I just said. That is insane. They were led by Ken Dorsey, Clinton Portis, Jeremy Shockey, Andre Johnson, Bryant McKinney, Jonathan Vilma, and Ed Reed. This squad produced an outstanding 17 first-round draft picks in the next 3 drafts. It's unprecedented, dude. Like it's incredible to me what that team was able to accomplish in terms of filling that particular team, man. Incredible. Best ever. The next one for me is going to be the 2006 Rose Bowl. Chad, what's that? Who was in that game?
Ooh, that was a good one. You know what? It's funny we should bring this up because I just got done watching the USC documentary on the 30 for 30 Trojan Horse or whatever it was. And of course it was USC and Texas, little old Texas.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, let's see what I've got in here. It says Vince Young lined up with his Longhorns against the USC Trojans with just 26 seconds remaining, down 38-33 and facing a 4th and 5 from the 9. Young had to find a way to get his team into the end zone very quickly. After dropping back to pass and finding every receiver blanketed by a defender, Young used his legs to rush forward towards the right pylon. He made it and secured his place in history. I remember that like it was last night. I mean, I said it when it was over. I still say it to this day. That's the best college football championship game I've ever watched. Just incredible. What a great game. Then this one's going to get you. Number 4 on my list, Mike Gundy's iconic 2007 "I'm a man" rant. I had to put this on here. I had to get it high too, man. Mike Gundy was triggered by a newspaper column in the Oklahoman that criticized Oklahoma State quarterback Bobby Reed. Gundy was defending his player against what was deemed unfair professional attack from the media, arguing that the columnist should have targeted him instead of a kid. Right?
And how old was Gundy?
40. He was 40. He's a man. You know, I mean that's got to be one of the best, right? And that leaves me to, speaking of speeches, the best speech ever given in college football.
Where this is going.
All right, I'm just going to read you the speech, okay? And you tell me, you're going to figure it out real quick.
Yeah.
Who this is and where it came from. To the fans and everybody in Gator Nation,
Tim Tebow.
I'm sorry. I'm extremely sorry. We were hoping for an undefeated season, and that was my goal. Something Florida has never done here. I promised you one thing, and a lot of good things will come out of this. You will never see any player in the entire country play as hard as I play the rest of this season. You will never see someone push the rest of the team as hard as I will push everybody the rest of the season. You will never see a team play harder than we will the rest of the season. God bless. Yes, Tim Tebow. It's the most famous speech in college football history, in my opinion. And that belongs to Tim Tebow after a loss to Ole Miss on September 27th, 2008. I mean, they were they ended up beating Oklahoma that year in the national championship game. They won out. Just incredible. That's one of the, again, iconic moments in college football history. Then I had to make that my number 1, man.
And I remember in that game, I think it was Major Wright had probably one of the nastiest hits I've ever seen on a receiver.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean,
I remember
that would have probably drawn a penalty flag in today's game.
Oh, for sure.
And at least a look. But he absolutely, I forgot which wide receiver was for Oklahoma, but he got absolutely plastered.
Right.
On that hit by Major. That was a major, major hit, pun intended.
Yes. Yes. Well, let's hear yours, Chet.
All right. I went a little bit more specific on the plays. I'm going to go 5-1. So top 5 non-Bama plays. And I kind of did mine off of ones that I actually saw. So, Doug Flutie, never really saw it. Though the band is out on the field, never saw it.
Right.
And I know it's a great moment. Cal and Stanford, iconic. Poor old trombone player got absolutely destroyed at the end. Number 5. I don't even want to say it. But I'll give a little nod to little brother across the state. I will go with kick 6 in 2013. Makes me want to vomit thinking about this. Alabama lines up for the field goal, knowing dang well we didn't have a field goal kicker who was going to make it. Kicked it, saw it up. I was like, ooh, this looks like it may be good.
Mm-hmm.
And it falls well short, and we know Chris Davis runs it back for the touchdown. And, I mean, that play single-handedly kept Alabama from winning 3 straight. Because there's no doubt in my mind we win that game. You're beating Missouri in the championship game, and you would have beaten Florida State in the – but that's,
Yeah.
I'm not bitter.
Right.
Number 4 is one from 2007. Little old Appalachian State goes up to Ann Arbor to play the mighty Big Ten Michigan Wolverines. Corey Lynch blocks a Michigan field goal as time expires, damn near runs it back, and Appalachian State, with obviously the biggest upset in their history, goes into the Big House, beats Michigan. And I'm pretty sure Michigan was top 5, and they were not even ranked after that game. So I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen a team ranked in the top 5 lose a game, and then they were not even ranked the next week. So that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Number 3, 2008 season, Texas Tech, Texas. Crabtree breaking away from the Texas defenders at the end of the game to score the game-winning touchdown. I mean,
Mhm.
the Texas guy had his jersey,
Yeah.
and he pulled away. That had been one of my top 5 games, non-Bama games that I've ever seen. Just a back and forth all night. Texas Tech at the time was just an absolute juggernaut in the Big 12 at the time,
Mhm.
and, that was just a great game between the 2. My number 2 that I've seen, we'll throw it back to 2002. LSU at Kentucky. Kentucky, just threw the Gatorade on Guy Morris, thinking they were gonna win this game. Uh, Marcus Randall threw like a 70-yard bomb to Michael Clayton.
Wow.
Yeah. It got tipped and he kept running and the ball landed perfectly. The fans were already on the field celebrating. In the opposite end zone, they had done tore down the goalpost. They didn't even know they lost.
Wow.
That's how crazy that moment was.
Wow.
If you ever go back and see the highlights of that, there's a kid rushing the field with some pom poms, and then he sees them score, and he's like, so I mean, just like that, it goes from from winning to defeat. It's
Right.
one of the craziest plays I've ever seen.
Definitely something to go look up.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you got a few
Yeah.
minutes, go check out Bluegrass Miracle. Nick Saban was the coach at LSU at the time. His post game interview, he can't even believe they won that game. He's like, I kind of feel bad for Kentucky. Their players played well enough to win, and so on.
Right.
But great moment. My number 1, you touched on it in your top 5. It's just Vince Young on that last drive. I mean, USC had a chance to win that game. They had a 4th and short at damn near midfield. All they had to do was get a yard.
Mhm.
And I believe Lindell White got stopped on that. And he was well short of the first down.
Mhm.
And then Vince Young came in. I guess it was a minute and a half, maybe. A couple of 4th down conversions. Like you said, rolled out, hit that right corner of the end zone. 2-point, they scored, then had to get the 2-point conversion to make it a 3-point game. And then
Right.
just kind of stopped them after that. And like you said, that was probably the greatest game I've ever watched
Sure.
in
And
the
it's
Rose
one of
Bowl.
it's one of the few that, I remember going into that game and not having a dog in that fight. I'm not a USC fan, and I'm certainly not a Texas fan. But I remember not really having a dog in that fight and, deciding who I was really pulling for in that game. And the longer I watched that game and the further it went, the more I became a Longhorn fan. And I'm rooting Texas on. I didn't have anything against USC. It was just a fight that I was looking at in Texas, especially Vince Young. I mean, it was like he was pulling out all the stops, man, and he's going against Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, some of these greats, some of these future NFL stars. And for him to do what he did, I mean, I'll never forget that game ever. And I have a lot of memory of it. Just you just talking about that 4th down stop. I mean, it's still there as you're going through it. Like I remember, like it happened last night. It's insane. That was great, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, and then to kinda I mean, I don't wanna get off I wanna get back to what we're doing, but I mean, even that game, that was like even though it was 2-1, that was a huge, huge upset because USC was coming off like a 30-game win streak
Right,
somewhere in the 30s,
right,
and I mean, they gave Texas 0 chance to win.
right,
There was only, like, maybe 90 people in that stadium who really thought they were gonna win, and it was the players.
right,
I'm sure there were some fans who didn't think they were gonna win that game.
right.
So, I
I'm
mean,
sure.
that's another moment on YouTube. Go and watch that last 2 or 3 minutes of that game,
Shoot, watch the
and
whole game.
watch the whole game, but,
Watch the whole
you know
game.
yeah, I mean, it was I
It's
mean,
incredible.
I think Texas even came back from, like, a 10-point deficit to win
Mhm.
that game
Yeah.
at some point. So that's okay, let's move on here. It's a great top 5. Alright,
Mhm.
next top 5 we got is our top 5 best Bama players, to transition to the NFL. Scott, you do the honors and go first.
All right, bud. I'm gonna start off, and I'm gonna give a couple of honorable mentions because I'm gonna tell you right now, I struggled at 5. I got the 4 down. I'm giving 5. So I'm gonna give a couple of honorable mentions at the end, but I'm gonna start off number 5, CJ Mosley, a 5-time Pro Bowler. known for his high tackle volume and leadership, earning nearly 95 million in his career. I mean, that's incredible. CJ, and he went to Theodore, go Bobcats. That's where my kids went. So that was the main reason he got 5 over the ones I'll mention later. But love Mosley, man. Number 4, Patrick Surtain. He recently signed the largest contract for a defensive back in league history at $96 million. So Patrick Surtain, he's incredible. He's undoubtedly, I want to say, the best in the league at the moment. And he's young. He's got a long way to go. Number 3, Minkah Fitzpatrick. 4-time Pro Bowl, 3-time first team All-Pro. I mean, I don't have to say anything about this guy. Everybody knows who he is. Just incredible. Number 2, Julio Jones. 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, 2010s on the 2010s All-Decade team. It's Julio Jones. Who doesn't know who he is? I mean, it's just incredible. From his time at Bama all the way through his time in Atlanta, and he's bounced around. Heck, he was even an Eagle at one point. But yeah, Julio, number 2. Number 1. You got any guesses before I say this?
I'm just going to take a guess in it. He's probably royalty. King Henry.
Would be Derrick Henry. Your 2020. He was your 2020 Offensive Player of the Year, 2-time NFL rushing leader, 4-time Pro Bowler. Undoubtedly the best thing that came out of Bama and then the NFL. You can argue all time, because boy, we could go back when I was originally doing this, and I'm looking at Cornelius Bennett, I'm looking at Derek Thomas, I'm looking at the all timers, right? I mean, the list goes on, but just in terms of the Saban era, Derrick Henry undoubtedly is my number 1.
Yeah, and I should preface this by saying it was Saban era that we did. So don't go roasting us with where's Cornelius and Derek. That's on me. I should have said Saban era. Okay, I kind of went a different route because I thought I didn't want to have like the same top 5, and I kind of went my number 5. I had a tie because I'm a homer, and I went Mark Ingram because he played for my Saints. And I've also got Kool-Aid McKinstry because he plays for my Saints. And I think Kool-Aid McKinstry will be I had to put the Saints in there at number 5.
No Eagles on my list.
No, not on mine. Not on mine. I couldn't do it because I thought you would have them all. I thought you'd have Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, D'Amico Ryans, but he ain't Saban era.
He was definitely in the honorable mentions that I did not mention.
There you go.
Devontae, my Heisman Trophy winner, is there.
Yeah. And so not to have the same 5 as you. At number 4, I had Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back from Detroit. That guy's been an absolute stud with Detroit. And I know that because I've had him on several fantasy teams, and he helps me win a lot. Yeah. Okay. I mean, our 1, 2, and 3. I mean, it's pretty much the same. 3, I had Minkah Fitzpatrick. I mean, how can you not have the guy on there?
Right.
I mean, the guy's been a stud. I mean, he was a stud. He was a freshman. I don't know if everybody remembers that game at Texas A&M when he was a freshman, where he had 2 pick sixes in that game as a freshman.
I do. I remember that.
Yeah, and the defense outscored the offense that game, 21-20. Go back and look. The defense outscored the offense. And actually, I didn't have a 2. I had 1A and 1B. And I had Julio Jones and Derrick Henry. I mean, how can you not have 2 of the most decorated guys?
Right.
You know, Pro Bowls, one of the best wide receivers all time, one of the best running backs right now. I mean, it's a no-brainer as far as those 2 go in the Saban era. Definitely 2 of the best players ever. So, yeah, I kind of went a little different at the bottom just because I kind of figured we'd have the same. I had Patrick Surtain in there, but I was like, let's go a little bit of a different route. So I had a couple of homer picks at the bottom. So what you gonna do?
Yeah, I'd say I had a hard time at 5 because CJ got the pick, but I was thinking about guys like Devontae, a lot of defensive guys as well, like Jonathan Allen was there, Quentin Williams. I mean, there's been a lot of guys that's gotten to the NFL that have really done well. So it was that 5th pick was hard, but CJ Bobcats, let's go. you
Yeah.
know?
I also looked at maybe like a Mark Barron.
Yeah.
There's just so many like defensive guys in there. I mean, you could have Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. It wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
We probably should have broke it down even further because
Right.
a top 5 for Alabama players in the NFL doesn't do it justice because
No.
you're gonna leave out a
No.
ton of guys
And
anyway.
you got Amari Cooper, Waddle.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
I could be here for 6 days just on receivers, alone.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I mean, the heck, there's so there's so much Bama talent in the NFL right now. It's crazy.
And honestly, I almost thought about putting Alvin Kamara on my list.
You would.
But he graduated from Tennessee. He's a Tennessee guy.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
just do that just to rage bait the trolls. That'd have
that's
been
why I
funny.
have to hear it all the time about
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, going to Oklahoma. He's not Bama. He left and went to Oklahoma. I don't
Ask.
care what anybody says. I cuss that man's name more than I ever have, and when
Yeah.
he was at Bama, and
He's
guess
ours.
what? Yeah, exactly. I claim him.
Well,
Okay.
it doesn't matter that he graduated from Bama, and when they ask where he's from Bama. So,
Right.
I
And
mean,
I know
I'll
when he's doing the Monday night, Thursday night football games, when they do the whole, Jalen Hurts, Alabama, sometimes he'll rotate it up.
as he
I've heard him say
should.
Alabama and Oklahoma. And I think that's respectable. I think you should do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he should rotate it. And honestly,
Yeah.
he can do whatever he wants. He's a grown man.
Right.
All right. Now to the fun part. This is going to be where Scott's going to earn his paycheck. We're going to do our we're going to do our top 5 or so we'll say athletes
Yeah,
because
we'll say
not all of these are football players.
right.
Scott, I'm gonna go first on this because
Yeah, do it.
I want to save the best for last on this one. This one, I don't know how many hours we got left on Riverside, but we may use them all today for these stories. What I'll do is I'm going to go from 5 to 1. My number 5 he's not an athlete, but he's associated with Alabama football. And I met Eli Gold at the Senior Bowl, me and my son. He was eating. I respectfully let him finish eating. And then once he walked out, I kind of followed him. And me and my son got a picture with him. Number 4, Ryan Klesko from the Braves. Signed my buddy's autograph. My buddy got an autograph, shook his hand. Number 3, A.J. McCarron had a signing at Hank Aaron Stadium. Number 2, this is probably 2 and 1 are probably my favorites. Back in, let's say about 88, 89, I got an autograph from a young pitcher for the Atlanta Braves named John Smoltz on a glove.
Nice.
Needless to say, I still played in that glove, even with his autograph, because who would have thought he'd have been a Hall of Famer?
Right.
So, and that got
Yeah.
worn off. I don't even know where the glove is. I still regret that.
Yeah.
And my number 1, and this will work out perfect because it'll segue into Scott's stories. My number 1 is Hulk Hogan. I got to meet him at a Rouse's in Fairhope a couple years ago when he was promoting his All-American beer. Sat in line
awesome.
for a couple hours. I've got a case of his beer autographed. Got to shake his hand. Walked up to him and I was like, I'm not worthy. And he looked at me and looked at my son. He goes, who's this, brother? I was like, this is my son. He called me brother.
Right.
Nice guy. And sometimes I don't want to meet my idols because I don't want their attitudes or their, if they're turds. I don't want to ruin that for myself. But the dude was super engaged. He seemed very excited to be there and meet everybody. He was genuinely interested in everybody. That made him even bigger in my mind
Right.
now. So that's my 5. Scott, the floor is yours, my man.
All right, I'm going to start off with the wrestlers that I've met in the past. I used to work at a restaurant there in Mobile, and when late night, obviously there was a show in town, and Miss Elizabeth and Lex Luger came late in. They came in late, and I walked over to the table about as nervous as you can be. I was early 20s. The Monday Night Wars were going on. This was NWO era, uh, and they came in and sat down. And of course, everybody in there knows I was a huge wrestling fan, so they're all like, "You got to go up and talk to him. You got to go talk to him." And I'm one of those people where it's like, just leave them alone. Let them enjoy their food. They probably get hounded wherever they go. Uh, but of course, I'm being peer pressured by my coworkers to go make an appearance to say something.
Hey, let's be honest. It didn't take much prodding there.
You're right. Okay, I was trying to. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Chad wasn't buying it, but no,
No,
I went
not
up
at
and
all.
I went up and introduced myself, shook both their hands, and they're Miss Elizabeth. She's no longer with us. But that was an incredible moment. We actually had good conversation about the business and about how they were doing, and two very good people. I could tell Lex Luger was a little bit aggravated at first, but I think once we started, chit chatting, and I was telling him about, how big of a fan I was, and I would mention things about his career, especially long ago, and I think he was like, okay, this guy knows me. Like, this guy has been watching me for a long time. When I would mention certain things, I'd see his eyes get real big, like, whoa, you were watching, you've been paying attention for a while. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've followed you for a long time. And we went out, I walked them out to their car that night. I got a to go Outback bag with their names on it, somewhere in my house. But that's something that was over 25 years ago. And I still hold on to that.
And it still smells like bloomin' onion.
I'm sure. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Uh, and then another Outback story. I'll never forget. It was it was a Saturday, and I'll tell you right now, there was probably 12, 15 wrestlers come in, and they all sat down at the big table we had, and and I'm looking around and I'm like, man, there's Kurt Angle, there's Christian, there's Edge, there's the Hardy Boys. I mean, I'm looking at greatness all the way through. I mean, everybody who was anybody in WWE was at this table. And it was basically mid-carders. All those guys were mid-carders back then. But Edge and Christian and Hardy Boys, this is before the main matches they had with the with the Dudley Boys and
Okay.
those big time matches. This is
Oh,
before that.
I
Right
was hoping
before
that I was hoping the Dudleys weren't there, and they were like, "Scott, get the tables."
that. Well, Kurt Angle comes up, and I'm sorry, it was Edge. Edge and Christian walk up, and I'm over there kind of hiding, and the server's standing there, and yeah, because I'm yeah, there you go. And the server comes up. I mean, the Christian's actually the one that did it. Christian comes up to the server, and I'm standing right there, and he's like, "Hey, see that bald guy over there? The guy with the trim head?" And he's pointing at Kurt Angle. And the guy, the server that he's talking to is a huge wrestling fan. Me and him are the two biggest wrestling fans in the building, okay? Which I thought was fan. He begged to have that table. I mean, he's over there like, I know that's not my section, but I want that table. And of course they gave it to him. But Christian walks over there and he's like, "Hey, hey, it's that guy's birthday. We like to do something big for him." So we're like, so me and Greg turn around and look at each other and we're like, okay. So we gather up everybody in the back and we're like, hey, we're all going to go out there. Normally the cooks won't come, but we want everybody out there. We want the dishwashers and everybody. We're all going to go out there and we're going to sing happy birthday to Kurt Angle. Okay. And we're going to say Kurt Angle. We're going to call him by name. This is going to be fun. So we all do it. And the minute we get out there, because we're all looking at Kurt Angle, okay? Kurt Angle just puts his hand on his head and he's like, "We're doing this again." And he's looking right at Edge and Christian because he knew, you know what I mean? And then I found out later that they do this kind of crap like all the time when they're on the road. They do it everywhere they go. It's somebody's birthday and they just have fun with it. But that was so great. That was hilarious.
Hey, did
And
y'all have the
then
benefits of flash photography?
no,
No.
this is
Okay.
back again. This is early. This is like this is late 90s, you know. We didn't have all that yet. But anyway, I'm gonna go to a couple football stories and then I'm gonna come back and hit my last wrestling. All right. So I got a Terrence Cody story. All right. Terrence Cody, I worked at this particular time, I worked in the hotel that the Senior Bowl takes place in at the Renaissance, and, I worked in the kitchen. And this particular night, we were just about to close. We were just minutes away from closing the restaurant and the kitchen, and the phone rang. And I look down and I see Terrence Cody on the phone. And I'm like, because I was, as soon as I heard the phone ring, I was like, oh, so ready to get out of here. And I looked down and I saw the name and I was like, huh, wait a minute. I got this. And I reached down and grabbed the phone and I took his order, and he ordered like a super jumbo shrimp uh po' boy, and all the goodness that comes with it. Like, he's ordering extra this, extra that, he want extra fries, he wanted the works, okay? And I'm like, "All right." And I go back and I tell the kitchen what's going on, because they, of course, they see the check come in and they're like, "What's going on?" Technically, it's past close. And I was like, "Well, he called right before we closed, and it's Terrence Cody." And there was one Bama fan in the kitchen cooking, and he's like, "Y'all go ahead and go. I got this." And he made his food for him, and, I took it to his room, right? Now, here's where things get funny. I get it to his room, and I knock on the door, and he opens the door. Nicest, one of the nicest people you ever meet, man. He was just big smile, happy to see, tired. Yeah, it's Senior Bowl week, man. These guys are working all day, man. They're tired, but he had a smile on his face, and I remember, I'll never forget that. And I walk in his room, and I go to put the tray on the table, and I said, "Mr. Cody," and he's bending over. He's going through his bag because he's getting money out to pay for his food. I said, "Mr. Cody." And he turns around and he goes, "Let's not do that." And I was like, "Oh, okay. No, Mr. Cody." And he was like, "No, no, no, no." And I'm like, "Okay, I call you Mount." And he goes, "You call me." He's like, "You call me anything but Mr. Cody. Don't do the Mr. Cody thing." And I was
Yeah.
like, "All right, cool." I said, "But my question to you is this. Coach Saban know you're up here at 11:30 eating a shrimp po' boy and all these fries?" And he's like, man, he laughed so hard. And finally, when he caught his breath, he was like, "You gonna call coach on me? Coach don't need to know about this. Okay." Man, I thought that was so great, man. That was the end of that. But that was a real big laugh, literally. That was a big man. I mean, his hands were bigger than my head. Like, that was a huge man.
How
And
far up
then
did you have to look?
right. Oh my goodness, man. He was, I mean, just gigantic. I don't know if I've ever been around guys so big in my life. I mean, he was just gigantic. Uh, but my next one is a little touching. I got to meet Tim Tebow, and Tim Tebow came to the Senior Bowl that year, and he was sick. And anybody who went knew he was not at the Players' Day, where they meet the fans. He wasn't there. That was the day I got to meet Tim Tebow. Um, Tim Tebow had been sick most of the week, and I took him some soup, and went up to his room. His mama opened the door. He had the whole family there, and his mom opened the door. They were in one of the big suites we had there, and he's sitting on the couch, and he's got a towel over his head, and he's like got this big bowl of water that he's like breathing in. So I set the food down next to him, and I asked him if he was okay or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm all right." And he had ESPN on. He was watching the news, and he was like, "You busy?" And I'm like, "Well, not right now because everybody's across the street." But he's, "Well, sit down." I'm like, "Okay, sure." So I sit down, and he's like, "So you watch football?" I was like, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Well, so you from here?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, so which is it?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You know exactly what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Which is it?" And I said, "Oh, Roll Tide, Roll
Yeah.
Tide." And by the way, I haven't forgotten what you did to us when you decommitted and went to Florida. And he started laughing at that point. I could see him. He's trying to laugh, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, no hard feelings though, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, no, we're good. We beat you, so we're good." Because we had just beaten them in the
Yeah.
SEC championship game. And so he's like, "Okay, so you hear what they're saying about me, you know, in the media about not playing quarterback in the NFL?" And I said, "Yes, sir. I'm watching it." He's like, "Are you an NFL fan?" I said, "Oh yeah, big time." He's like, "Well, who's your NFL? You a Saints fan?" And I was like, "No, I'm actually a Philadelphia Eagles fan." He was like, "That's weird." I was like, "Yeah." Yeah, it is, but we won't get into that or whatever.
Yeah.
We just kind of let that one go. But he gets into the, what do you think about them saying about me not being a quarterback? And I was like, well, I mean, I said, do you want to be a tight end? And he's like, I'm not a tight end. I'm a quarterback. And I was like, most importantly, Tim, it's not that you're not a quarterback, it's you're a leader. And as long as whatever team picks you knows that, then you'll be fine. Go in there with everything that you've taken with you and all the steps that you've been through already, and you'll be good. It was a very short conversation, but I felt like it was something I'm going to carry with me the rest of my life. Tim Tebow's great guy. The fact that he even asked me that, and I'm a nobody, I just thought that was really cool. And it was a moment I got to spend a couple of minutes with Tim Tebow while everybody else was missing him across the street because he wasn't there because he was sick, and I got my Tebow moment, and I'm grateful for that. Great guy, great moment that I'll cherish forever. And he won a playoff game in Denver, and then they let him roll. So I'm a Tebow fan, always will be, always have been, outside of his time at Florida. And did I laugh when he cried? Maybe, maybe a little salty.
That should have been one of my top 5 moments.
I thought about it too. I just didn't want to kill this moment, so I kept it out.
Fair enough.
Right. But anyway, that's my Tim Tebow story. And then my number one, the nature boy, Ric Flair.
Woo!
So we're back at the hotel, same hotel I worked at during the Senior Bowl. Monday Night Raw was happening over at the Civic Center at the time on a Monday night. And once again, late night phone call. I answered the phone, and we were literally just like Cody. It was a couple of minutes from close. And I had been watching wrestling on the outside screen in the restaurant. So I knew it had just ended. It was literally Raw. Monday Night Raw had just gone off. And I look over and the phone's ringing and I go to answer it. And this time it was just an outside line, so I didn't know who it was. So I answered the phone and he's calling from his cell phone. And he's like, hey, Ric Flair. I'm like, okay, Mr. Flair. And I'm thinking, inside, I'm thinking, oh, crap. Okay, calm your nerves. This is Ric Flair on the phone. So he's like, hey, I just wanted to get something before you guys closed. I just, he ordered a salad and a drink from the bar. Okay. And I'm like, okay. He goes, go ahead and send it up to my room. Leave yourself a nice tip. It's like, yes, sir. Get that done. Now, I can't do what he said. I can't just leave myself a nice tip. It's not how it works, unfortunately. But, so I go back and I print the check or whatever, and the cooks are making the salad and whatever else went in it. And I head downstairs. It's been a couple of minutes. I head downstairs to the bar to get his drink. And it was a fancy martini. And I get down there to go get it. And as I walk through the back behind the bar, Ric Flair is sitting at the bar. And I'm pretty sure he was already out. I'm pretty sure he had already reached his peak. Okay. Lord knows this man was probably drinking before the show. Okay. So, and he looks at me and I guess he saw my name tag and he looks over and he's like, "Who, Scott, the room service guy?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And he's like, you taking that up to my room? And I said, "Yes, sir." He's like, "All right, I'll meet you up there." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I go get his drink. I go back up to the kitchen, get his food ready. Then I head up to the room and I get to the room and the door is like latched open. Okay. But I knock anyway. And he's like, "Come on in." I'm like, "All right." I open the door and he's standing as far back as you can get in the room, right in front of the window. And he's got his hotel robe on. Okay. And yeah, he's got his hotel robe on and he sees me and he does it again. He claps his hands, gives me the, "Whoo, Scott, the room service guy." And he claps his hands and then he does the Flair walk like right towards me. And I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. I don't know. I don't know what's about to happen. I'm standing there with the tray in my hand, fear for my life here.
I'm gonna get
chopped. Right.
Woo!
Yeah. It's about to go down. And I kind of want him to. I kind of want this to happen,
Yeah.
Maybe he'll chop me, and that'll be awesome. Wow. But I mean, that was pretty much the end of it. I set the food down. He wasn't much of a talker, he wasn't into all that, and I just told him I was a huge fan and enjoyed the show that night. And but that was kind of it. But I mean, the Ric Flair story, dude, that was incredible, man. It's Ric Flair, just to have that moment with him and Tebow and Cody. Working in that hotel, and even the stories I had at Outback. We had one night at Outback too, where we had we had Perry Saturn, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. I know
Dean
I'm leaving out
Malenko?
names.
Dean Malenko?
Remember that group?
Yeah, the
They all
Radicals.
came. Yeah, the Radicals. They all came in, and they were literally getting ready to leave WCW, and this is between them leaving WCW and coming to WWF or E at the time. This was in between that. They were actually setting up a meeting because there was other guys there too. It turned out to be like agents that they were talking to, trying to work out a deal to get to WWE. And I obviously didn't know that until later, but just to be able to see that. And I saw them sitting around this round table, and I'm like, holy cow, man, that's wow. And I pulled my guy out that I was talking about earlier. I pulled him around the corner, and I'm like, is that who I think it is? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, who are those other guys wearing suits? What are they up to? And he's like, I don't know, man, but look serious. And it's almost like they were like they all had like tank tops on and shorts. They weren't, they were just out, But man, those were great moments, man. I enjoyed the heck out of them. I met Derek Thomas one time too. At South Alabama, he autographed a card for me. But
Dang.
yeah.
And look, Mob, now you realize why I went first. Because if Scott would have went first, and then the ratings would have just went blue. So that's why I went first. Great stories, man. Those are the Tim Tebow. I don't remember you telling me that story before.
No,
I remember the Ric Flair one, but that Tim Tebow one's
the Tim Tebow and the Cody one. I don't share a whole lot, but if you ask me, I'll tell you.
All right, Mob. Well, let us know what you think about all three of our lists. Hey, who's the most famous player, coach, commentator, wrestler that you've ever met? Let us know in the comments. What's your favorite football play that's not from your team? Let us know. We we want to hear from you. It's always fun to get other people's perspectives, and we like to see what y'all like. So with that being said, guys, this will do it for this edition of the 4th and 31 podcast. For the Bro-Deucer, I am the Chad. We will see you next time.